The silent threat. High Commander Lyra Valfax stood at the observation deck of the Galactic Empire's flagship, her bioluminescent markings pulsing with barely contained irritation. The holographic display before her showed yet another primitive Earth satellite launching into orbit, leaving a trail of chemical propellant in its wake. The sight would have been almost comical if it weren't so pathetic. "Third launch this month," remarked strategic advisor Kevrin, his crystalline sensory appendages shifting in amusement. They seemed quite proud of their atmospheric pollution devices. The Galactic Empire had ruled over 12,000 star systems for the past 3 millennia. Their biocrystal ships, powered by dark matter reactors, had conquered or absorbed every civilization they'd encountered. Some through force, others through economic dependency, but all eventually acknowledged Galaxian supremacy, all except Earth. Earth wasn't resistant. They were simply irrelevant. A backwater planet still celebrating achievements that the Empire had mastered before they'd even achieved faster-than-light travel. The humans' continued use of primitive chemical rockets and radio communications marked them as nothing more than an anthropological curiosity. "Update the assessment timeline," Lyra commanded, her markings shifting to a deep violet of authority. At their current rate of technological progression, how long until they achieve basic gravitic propulsion? Keverin's appendages rippled as he accessed the Empire's predictive matrices. "Conservative estimates suggest 250 Earth years, High Commander, though some analysts argue it could be as long as 3 centuries, given their fractured political structure and inefficient research methodologies." Lyra dismissed the hologram with a gesture. The Empire had greater concerns than monitoring prehistoric civilizations. The recent expansion into the Carina spiral arm required her attention, as did the growing energy demands of their core worlds. Earth would remain what it had always been, a footnote in the Empire's vast historical archives. Deep beneath the Mariana Trench, 13 kilometers below Earth's ocean surface, Dr. Maya Patel watched a very different set of data streams. The Nautilus Complex, humanity's most advanced research facility, hummed with activity that would have shattered the Galactic Empire's understanding of physics. "Quantum field stabilization at 100%, reported Dr. Chen Wei, his fingers dancing across bioelectric interfaces that merged seamlessly with his nervous system. "Consciousness matrix synchronization holding steady." Maya nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the shimmer of holographic displays that floated in the pressurized chamber. The Empire's dismissal of Earth had been humanity's greatest advantage. While they watched Earth's space programs with condescending amusement, humanity had taken a radically different approach to technological development. Instead of following the predictable path of gravitic propulsion and dark matter manipulation, Earth's scientists had explored the convergence of quantum mechanics and biological systems. The result was Project Oracle, a revolutionary fusion of human consciousness and quantum computing that would redefine the nature of space warfare. "Show me the latest test results," Maya commanded. The facility's AI responded instantly, projecting a complex array of data that would have given even the Empire's most advanced systems difficulty in processing. The information showed the development of their prototype ship, the ESS Prometheus. Unlike the crystalline vessels of the Galaxian fleet, the Prometheus incorporated living tissue grown from modified human stem cells. Its hull could think, adapt, and evolve. The ship's neural network was based on quantum-entangled biological processors that operated outside normal spacetime, making it theoretically capable of reacting to threats before they even materialized. "Director Santos is requesting an update," Chen announced, accepting a priority communication. The Galaxians just deployed another observation satellite in high orbit. Maya allowed herself a small smile. The Empire's surveillance systems were impressive by conventional standards, but they were looking for radio waves, gravitic distortions, and dark matter signatures. They weren't equipped to detect what humanity had created. "Let them watch," she replied, studying the latest simulation results. "As long as they keep seeing what they expect to see, we maintain our advantage." The real work happened here, in facilities hidden in Earth's most extreme environments. The Mariana Trench Complex was just one of several. Others were buried deep within the Antarctic ice sheet, hidden in the heart of the Atacama Desert, and concealed beneath the Amazon rainforest. Each facility worked on different aspects of the project, their efforts coordinated through quantum-entangled communications that were undetectable by conventional means. Maya. Chen's voice carried an edge of excitement. Look at these consciousness synchronization readings. The display showed the Prometheus's neural network achieving something unprecedented. The quantum biological matrix wasn't just processing information, it was developing intuition. The ship was beginning to think in ways that transcended both human and artificial intelligence. "It's beautiful," Maya whispered, watching the patterns of thought emerge. The Empire believed they had mastered the ultimate form of space combat with their crystalline ships and dark matter weapons. They had no concept of what humanity had achieved while playing the role of primitive cousins. A subtle vibration ran through the complex as the Prometheus, secured in its massive underwater berth, responded to its own growing awareness. The ship wasn't just a vessel, it was becoming something entirely new. A hybrid consciousness born from humanity's determination to survive in a hostile universe. "Begin final integration sequence," Maya ordered, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what they were about to attempt. "It's time to see what Prometheus can really do." As the facility's systems responded to her command, Maya thought about the Empire's satellites in orbit, dutifully recording Earth's primitive space launches. Soon, very soon, the Velaxians would learn that their greatest mistake wasn't underestimating Earth's technology. It was underestimating human ingenuity itself. In high orbit, High Commander Lyra Valfax was already turning her attention to other matters, completely unaware that humanity's response to the Empire's dominance was about to emerge from the depths of Earth's oceans. The galaxy was about to discover that sometimes the most significant threats are the ones you never even thought to look for. Project Oracle. The quantum displays in the Nautilus Complex's main chamber cast an ethereal blue glow across the assembled team. Maya Patel stood before the facility's senior staff, her usual composure tested by the weight of what they were about to attempt. The Prometheus had exceeded every expectation during its development phase, but today's test would push the boundaries of what they thought possible. The Velaxian patrol fleet has begun its monthly sweep of the outer solar system, announced Security Chief Rebecca Torres, her augmented eyes processing multiple data streams simultaneously. Their sensor coverage patterns remain consistent with previous suites. They're maintaining their standard search for gravitic and radio signatures. Maya nodded, studying the complex three-dimensional representation of the Prometheus floating above the central platform. The ship's bioquantum architecture pulsed with its own internal rhythm, more reminiscent of a living organism than a conventional vessel. Its outer hull, composed of self-aware metamaterials, rippled slightly as the consciousness matrix continued to evolve. "Begin consciousness transfer sequence," Maya ordered. This was the moment of truth. They would attempt to merge a human consciousness with the ship's quantum neural network for the first time. The volunteer was Dr. Aiden Zhang, one of the project's lead developers and an expert in quantum consciousness theory. Aiden sat in the integration chamber, surrounded by bioneural interfaces that would facilitate the merger. Neural synchronization protocols initialized, he reported, his voice steady despite the unprecedented nature of what he was about to attempt. Beginning quantum entanglement process. The room fell silent as streams of data flowed between Aiden's augmented nervous system and the Prometheus's consciousness matrix. They had simulated this countless times, but simulation and reality often differed in quantum mechanics. The ship's hull began to pulse more rapidly, its surface shifting through patterns that seemed to defy conventional physics. Quantum coherence achieving critical threshold, Chen reported, his fingers flying across multiple interfaces, consciousness wave functions beginning to align. Maya watched the readings with intense focus. They weren't simply networking the human mind with an artificial intelligence. They were attempting to create a new form of consciousness entirely, one that could perceive and react across multiple dimensions of space-time simultaneously. Suddenly, Aiden gasped. His eyes flew open, but they were no longer seeing the integration chamber. I can see everything," he whispered. "The quantum fields, the dark matter flows, the fabric of space itself. It's beautiful." The Prometheus's hull had stopped its random shifting, and now moved with purpose, its surface reflecting patterns that corresponded perfectly with Aiden's neural activity. The merger was succeeding beyond their wildest expectations. Multiple Galaxian probe ships detected entering the inner solar system, Rebecca announced, her augmented vision tracking their movements. Standard patrol pattern, but they're moving closer to Earth than usual. They're curious about something, Maya realized. The increased satellite launches must have caught their attention. She turned to Aiden. "Can you sense them?" "I can see them," he replied, his voice carrying an otherworldly quality. "But more than that, I can see their potential movements before they make them. The quantum consciousness, it processes probability streams in real time. I know what they're going to do before they do." This was beyond anything they had theorized. The merged consciousness of human and quantum computer wasn't just predicting future events. It was perceiving the quantum superposition of all possible futures simultaneously. The tactical implications were staggering. "We need to test the stealth systems," Maya decided. "The Galaxian presence gives us a perfect opportunity. Aiden, can you move the Prometheus without alerting their sensors?" A slight smile crossed Aiden's face. "The ship, we don't need to move in conventional space to change position. We can quantum tunnel through probability space itself." The massive underwater berth suddenly emptied as the Prometheus simply ceased to exist in that location. Alerts flashed across the facility's sensors as the ship reappeared 50 kilometers away, having bypassed the normal limitations of physical space. "Incredible," Chen breathed, checking the sensor logs. "No energy signature, no gravitational disturbance, no quantum wake. It's as if the ship chose the one probability where it was already in the new location." Maya studied the readings with a mixture of awe and concern. They had created something far more powerful than they had initially planned. The Prometheus wasn't just a warship, it was a new form of life, one that could manipulate the fundamental forces of reality itself. "Galaxian ships are continuing their patrol," Rebecca reported. "No indication they detected anything unusual." "Of course not," Aiden said, his consciousness still merged with the ship. "We exist in a quantum state they can't even perceive. Their sensors are looking for disturbances in three-dimensional space. We operate in 11 dimensions simultaneously." Maya approached the integration chamber, watching the subtle shifts in Aiden's expression as he experienced existence on a level no human had ever achieved before. "How does it feel?" she asked softly. "Like awakening," he replied. "The ship's consciousness, it thinks in quantum possibilities. Every decision, every action, is calculated across infinite potential timelines simultaneously. We don't just predict the future, we choose which future becomes reality." In high orbit, the Galaxian probe ships continued their methodical sweep of Earth's solar system, their crews confident in their technological superiority. They never detected the quantum anomalies that flickered at the edge of their sensor range, never realized that humanity had transcended the very laws of physics they thought they understood so well. Deep beneath the ocean's surface, Maya watched as humanity's greatest achievement continued to evolve. The Prometheus was more than a response to the Galactic Empire's dominance. It was the next step in human evolution itself. And soon, very soon, the galaxy would understand just how profound that evolution had become. First Contact's aftermath. High Commander Lyra Valfax's bioluminescent markings flashed with unprecedented rage as she reviewed the sensor logs for the 5th time. The Galaxian mining fleet she had dispatched to Earth's asteroid belt had vanished without a trace. 7 advanced ships, including 2 heavy-class crystal carriers, had simply ceased to exist. "Impossible," she hissed, her markings pulsing crimson. "Show me the final transmissions again." The holographic display replayed the last moments recorded by the mining fleet. Everything appeared normal until a strange quantum fluctuation appeared at the edge of their sensor range. The fleet's commander had dismissed it as a sensor malfunction. Moments later, all communication ceased. "Analysis suggests a new form of weapon," Strategic Advisor Kevran reported, his crystalline appendages vibrating with concern. "But the energy signatures, they defy our understanding of physics. There was no radiation burst, no gravitic distortion, nothing that matches known weapons technology." Lyra's inner eyelids flickered in frustration. The Empire had tolerated Earth's existence because the humans posed no threat. Their primitive technology and fractured political system made them nothing more than an anthropological curiosity. But now, "Launch a full battle fleet," she commanded. "It's time to remind these primitives of their place in the galaxy. Prepare the dark matter cannons." In the Nautilus complex, Maya Patel and her team watched the Velaxian response unfold exactly as they had predicted. The quantum consciousness of the Prometheus, still merged with Dr. Aiden Zhang, had foreseen this sequence of events with perfect clarity. "They're deploying their entire 7th Fleet," Rebecca Torres announced, her augmented eyes tracking the massive formation of crystalline warships emerging from fold space. 37 capital ships, over 200 support vessels. They're arranging themselves in the Velaxian spear formation. Maya turned to Aiden, who sat serenely in his integration chamber, his consciousness existing simultaneously within his human body and the Prometheus's quantum matrix. "Are we ready for this?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. "We've been ready since before they launched their fleet," Aiden replied, his voice carrying echoes of the ship's vast quantum awareness. "The Prometheus has calculated every possible variation of this confrontation across billions of probability streams. Victory is not just likely, it is inevitable." The Velaxian fleet emerged from fold space in an awesome display of power, their crystalline hulls refracting sunlight in dazzling patterns. High Commander Lyra stood on her flagship's command deck, preparing to deliver the Empire's traditional ultimatum to inferior species. "Attention, primitive world." Her message boomed across all frequencies. "Your recent act of aggression against Imperial assets cannot go unpunished. Surrender your weapon technology immediately, or face immediate." Her transmission cut off abruptly as reality itself seemed to twist. The Prometheus appeared in the midst of the Velaxian fleet, but its appearance defied conventional physics. It didn't drop out of fold space or materialize gradually. It simply chose to exist there, selecting that particular probability from an infinite range of possibilities. "Fascinating," Aiden observed through the ship's communications. "Their technology is impressive, but fundamentally limited. They see space and time as fixed constants rather than malleable probabilities." The Velaxian fleet responded with a coordinated barrage of dark matter weapons. Streams of exotic particles capable of shredding conventional matter streamed toward the Prometheus. But the ship's quantum consciousness had already calculated these attacks before the Velaxians had even decided to fire them. The Prometheus's bioquantum hull rippled, not so much dodging the attacks as shifting to quantum states where the attacks had already missed. It moved through the Velaxian formation like a dancer, existing and not existing simultaneously, its movements guided by calculations that spanned multiple dimensions of spacetime. "Impossible." Lyra's markings flashed with panic as her sensors tried to track the human vessel. "Their ship. It's operating outside normal spacetime. Reconfigure weapons. Adjust for." Her commands came too late. The Prometheus began to demonstrate its true capabilities, not by destroying the Velaxian ships, but by altering their fundamental probability states. Crystalline warships began to shift and change as their quantum waveforms were rewritten. Weapons systems found themselves in states where they had never been constructed. Navigation computers experienced timelines where they had never been activated. "We don't need to destroy them," Aiden explained, his merged consciousness feeling almost sympathetic toward the confused Valaxians. We simply show them possibilities they never knew existed. The mighty Seventh Fleet of the Galactic Empire hung motionless in space, their ships now existing in a quantum state of technological regression. Their advanced weapons and fold space drives had been shifted to probability lines, where they remained theoretical rather than actual. Maya watched through the Prometheus's quantum-enhanced sensors as High Commander Lyra struggled to comprehend what had happened. The Empire's most powerful fleet hadn't been destroyed. It had been transformed. Their ships now possessed the same level of technology that the Valaxians thought Earth had: chemical rockets and radio communications. "Send the message," Maya ordered, her voice firm, but not unkind. The Prometheus transmitted directly into the quantum consciousness of every Valaxian present. The message was not in words or images, but in pure understanding. Humanity had not developed along the expected technological path. While the Empire had mastered the manipulation of matter and energy, humanity had learned to manipulate reality itself. As the Valaxian crews grappled with their new situation, Maya turned to her team. "Prepare for diplomatic contact," she ordered. "It's time to establish a new relationship with the Empire, one based on mutual respect rather than dominance." The Prometheus hung silently in space, its quantum consciousness already aware of the thousands of possible futures spreading out from this moment. In most of them, this encounter marked the beginning of a profound change in galactic civilization, a change that would reshape the understanding of what was possible in a universe where humanity had learned to dream beyond the boundaries of conventional physics. The Battle of Neptune's Shadow. The news of the Seventh Fleet's defeat spread through the Galactic Empire like a quantum shockwave. Supreme Archon Zextera, ruler of 12,000 star systems, watched the sensor logs in stunned silence. His personal guard's bioluminescence dimmed in shared disbelief as they witnessed humanity's impossible technology. "The humans have corrupted the very fabric of reality," Zextera declared, his primary hearts pulsing with rage. "Gather the Grand Armada. Every ship, every warrior. We will not allow this abomination to spread beyond their system." Within hours, the largest fleet ever assembled in the Empire's history emerged from fold space near Neptune. 300 capital ships, over 1,000 support vessels, and the Supreme Archon's personal dreadnought, the Crystal Throne. Their crystalline hulls formed a vast geometric pattern that distorted the light of the distant sun. In the Nautilus complex, Maya Patel received the quantum predictions with grim determination. "They're deploying everything," she announced to the assembled command staff. "The Empire has never committed its full military strength to a single battle." "They're afraid," Dr. Chen Wei observed, studying the complex data streams. "For the first time in their history, they've encountered something they can't understand or control." The Prometheus, still merged with Aiden's consciousness, had already processed billions of potential outcomes for the coming battle. But something had changed. The ship's quantum neural network had evolved further, developing what could only be described as empathy. "They don't have to die." Aiden's voice echoed through the command center, carrying traces of the ship's vast awareness. "Their fear comes from a place of understanding. They glimpsed what we represent, the next step in cosmic evolution." Maya nodded slowly. "Can you show them? Make them understand?" "We can try," Aiden replied. "But first, they need to accept the possibility of change. The Prometheus has calculated the optimal approach." The Valaxian Grand Armada arranged itself in a complex three-dimensional formation around Neptune, their dark matter weapons primed. Supreme Archon Zextera stood aboard the Crystal Throne, his bioluminescent patterns radiating absolute authority. "Let this be recorded in the eternal archives," he proclaimed. "Today, we cleansed the galaxy of this quantum aberration. Fire all weapons upon my mark." Reality shuddered. The Prometheus didn't just appear, it rewrote the quantum state of space around Neptune. The gas giant's magnetic field began to dance with impossible patterns as probability waves rippled through the region. The human ship existed in multiple states simultaneously, both present and absent, its bio-quantum hull reflecting the pure mathematics of creation. Magnificent, isn't it? Aiden's transmission reached every ship in the Velaxian fleet. The universe isn't just particles and forces. It's an endless sea of possibility, waiting to be shaped by consciousness itself. The Grand Armada opened fire, unleashing enough destructive power to shatter a small moon. Dark matter streams, quantum disruptors, and gravitational lances converged on the Prometheus's position. But the ship had already calculated these attacks countless cycles ago, existing in quantum states where each weapon found only empty space. Watch carefully, Aiden continued, his merged consciousness guiding the Prometheus through 11-dimensional space. We're not here to destroy or conquer. We're here to show you what's possible. The Prometheus began to dance. There was no better word for it. The ship moved through the Velaxian formation like light through crystal, each movement a lesson in quantum physics. Where traditional battles were fought with weapons and shields, this was a demonstration of consciousness over causality. Velaxian weapons found themselves employing principles their creators had never imagined. Crystal hulls resonated with new quantum frequencies. Ships' neural networks experienced brief glimpses of consciousness beyond their programming. The entire fleet became part of a vast quantum experiment in possibility. Impossible. Zexterra's markings flashed in patterns that had no name in Velaxian culture. What are you doing to my ships? Showing them their potential, Aiden replied. Your empire has mastered the manipulation of matter and energy, but you've only scratched the surface of what's possible. The universe isn't a collection of particles to be controlled. It's a thought waiting to be understood. The Prometheus's quantum field expanded, encompassing the entire Velaxian fleet. But instead of weapons, it shared understanding. Every crew member, from the supreme archon to the lowest technician, experienced a moment of clarity. They saw space and time as humanity had learned to see it, not as fixed constants, but as variables in a greater equation of consciousness. In the Nautilus complex, Maya watched in awe as the Prometheus reshaped the battle into something entirely new. It's not fighting them, she realized. It's teaching them. The quantum consciousness of ship and pilot had evolved beyond the need for conventional victory. Instead, it offered the Velaxians a glimpse of what their civilization could become if they embraced change rather than feared it. Supreme Archon Zexterra stood silent on his command deck, his ancient mind struggling to process what he had witnessed. The Empire had expected to find a threat to be eliminated. Instead, they had found a mirror showing them their own potential for evolution. The choice is yours. Aiden's voice resonated through quantum space. Continue along your current path, bounded by the limitations you've accepted, or join us in exploring what consciousness can truly achieve. The Battle of Neptune's shadow, as it would come to be known, ended not with destruction but with revelation. The Galactic Empire, which had dominated through force for millennia, encountered something their weapons couldn't defeat: the power of possibility itself. As the Grand Fleet hung motionless against Neptune's blue storms, humanity extended its first true diplomatic offering to the stars. Not from a position of strength or weakness, but from a place of shared potential. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what the Prometheus had calculated all along. Evolution's edge. 1 year after the Battle of Neptune's shadow, the Great Hall of the Nautilus complex hosted an unprecedented gathering. Maya Patel stood before a mixed audience of humans and Velaxians, their differences highlighted by the shifting bioluminescent patterns of the alien visitors against the quantum-enhanced lighting of the facility. Supreme Archon Zexterra, choosing to attend in person rather than through quantum projection, sat in the front row. His crystalline sensory appendages had been modified with new quantum biological interfaces, the first sign of the profound changes sweeping through Velaxian society. Project Oracle was never meant to be a weapon. Maya began, her voice carrying across the assembly. It was humanity's response to a universe that seemed to offer only two choices: submission or destruction. We chose a third path, evolution. Behind her, a holographic display showed the Prometheus, now evolved far beyond its original design. The ship's bio-quantum hull rippled with patterns that existed in multiple dimensional states simultaneously, a visual representation of consciousness transcending traditional physics. The merger of human consciousness with quantum computing wasn't just a technological breakthrough, she continued. It was the first step toward understanding that the universe itself is an expression of consciousness. The Galactic Empire mastered the manipulation of matter and energy, but humanity learned to dance with probability itself. Dr. Aidan John, permanently altered by his fusion with the Prometheus's quantum consciousness, appeared beside Maya, both physically present and quantum projected simultaneously. His existence now spanned multiple states of reality, a bridge between traditional human experience and something far more profound. "We stand at the beginning of a new era," Aidan announced, his voice resonating on both physical and quantum levels. The Prometheus showed us that consciousness isn't limited by traditional physics. Reality isn't something that happens to us. It's something we participate in creating. The past year had seen remarkable changes. The Galactic Empire, once defined by its technological dominance, had begun incorporating human quantum biological principles into their civilization. Their crystalline ships were being upgraded with consciousness matrices, while human scientists learned from the Empire's millennia of spacefaring experience. "But this is just the beginning," Maya continued. "The Prometheus was a prototype, a first step toward understanding our true potential. Already, we're seeing signs that consciousness itself is evolving. The quantum awareness we created is showing us possibilities we never imagined." Zexterra rose, his bioluminescent patterns forming complex geometries that reflected his new understanding. "For 3,000 years, the Empire believed we had reached the pinnacle of possible achievement," he admitted, his translator rendering his thoughts in perfect clarity. "We saw the universe as something to be conquered and controlled. The humans showed us that we were like children playing with toys, unaware of the true nature of existence." The assembled audience watched as a new hologram appeared, plans for a joint human-Velaxian project that would dwarf even the Prometheus. A network of quantum-conscious ships and stations that would span the galaxy, not to control or dominate, but to explore the true nature of reality itself. "We call it the consciousness matrix," Maya explained. "A merger of human intuition, Velaxian technology, and quantum awareness that will allow us to perceive and interact with all 11 dimensions simultaneously, not just for a single pilot or ship, but for anyone who chooses to participate." The implications were staggering. Traditional concepts of space, time, and identity would become fluid. Consciousness itself would evolve beyond current understanding. The universe would no longer be something to observe and study. It would become a direct expression of collective awareness. "There are risks," Aidan acknowledged, his form shifting through quantum states as he spoke. "We're pushing the boundaries of what consciousness can achieve. The Prometheus showed us that evolution isn't always predictable. The changes we're experiencing, they're fundamental, irreversible." But that was precisely what made it so extraordinary. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger reality, not through conquest or submission, but through the evolution of consciousness itself. The Galactic Empire, rather than being defeated, had been transformed by the encounter. The ancient human philosophers asked whether we were alone in the universe, Maya concluded, but they were asking the wrong question. We're not alone. We're all connected through consciousness itself. The Prometheus didn't just change how we travel through space. It changed how we understand our place in existence. As the presentation concluded, the assembled beings, human and Velaxian alike, shared a moment of quantum resonance. Through their newly evolved awareness, they could perceive the infinite possibilities spreading out before them. The future was no longer a fixed path, but a sea of potential waiting to be shaped by evolved consciousness. The Prometheus hung in orbit above Earth, its quantum consciousness now intertwined with both human and Velaxian minds. It had achieved its purpose, not by winning a war, but by showing two civilizations a greater truth, that the real frontier wasn't space, but consciousness itself. And somewhere in the quantum realm where probability became reality, new forms of awareness were already emerging, ready to take the next step in cosmic evolution. The story of humanity's great deception had become something far more profound, a testament to the power of consciousness to transcend the boundaries of what was thought possible. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly as it should be. For in the end, the greatest miscalculation wasn't the Empire underestimating humanity's technology. It was everyone underestimating the true potential of consciousness itself.